6 months ago, it looked like the Common Core standards and the high-stakes tests that go with them were pretty much a done deal. Oh, sure, some people complained about the standards and tests, and sure, most people didn't even know what the Common Core was, but the train had already left the station. Most of the big names in the Democratic and Republican parties and almost every state legislature were on board, and all the while hundreds and millions of dollars were rolling in from Bill Gates and other members of the Billionaire Boys Club to develop and support the new standards. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it's beginning to look like a lot of things could go wrong. Hating the Common Core standards has become a right-wing badge of honor. And on the progressive side, teachers, unions, as well as educators and parents have condemned the high-stakes tests that accompany the standards. Even Bill Gates, whose foundation poured over $200 million into developing and promoting the Common Core, is calling for a 2-year moratorium on using the results of the tests for evaluating teachers and schools. It doesn't look like a done deal anymore. Here's a national picture as it stands right now. Most of the states have already adopted the Common Core standards. They're the ones in brown on the map. The 4 states in light blue never adopted the standards. That's Nebraska, Texas, Virginia, and Alaska. But look at those 3 states in dark blue, Oklahoma, Indiana, and South Carolina. They've reversed themselves and pulled out of the Common Core. Nobody saw that coming. There's a good chance more states will follow suit. Things are even dicier when it comes to the testing part of Common Core. The 15 states in light blue haven't decided how to test their students on the standards. They're leaving open the options of choosing one of 2 ready-made standardized tests or creating their own tests. That includes Arizona, by the way, which recently dropped its plan to use one of the ready-made tests. The other states are divided between the 2 tests. So how do you have a national standardized assessment when students across the country may be taking one of 2 different standardized tests, and lots of other students will be taking completely different tests created by their individual states? You know, when the right-wing noisemakers make noise, politicians, especially Republican politicians, get scared. And well, Glenn Beck, one of the biggest noisemakers, is making lots of noise against the Common Core, and so is Michelle Malkin, another right-wing talking head. The 2 of them have a July event in movie theaters around the country, including 3 movie theaters in Tucson, which its purpose is, in their words, to fight back against Common Core. That's got to have Republicans who support the standards shaking in their boots. Now, here in Arizona, lots of our Republican legislators and our gubernatorial candidates on the Republican side have spoke out vehemently against the Common Core, while Jan Brewer, the governor, and Superintendent of Public Instruction John Huppenthal have been swimming upstream against their party's opposition. Huppenthal's Republican primary challenger for superintendent, Diane Douglas, is running a one-note campaign, Stop the Common Core. Neither of the Democratic candidates are ardent supporters either. So, Annie Eve, what's going on here? What happened to the supposed done deal? Why is the Common Core running into so much opposition?
Well, you know, no one knew this was coming. The federal government didn't prepare people for it. And, you know, some people are getting hoisted on their own petards. And frankly, I'm not part of the conspiracy theory crew, but if you're not going to fund the Common Core and force our teachers to teach to something that we're not providing them the materials or training to teach to, then I'm against it as well. So you can see why this happened, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the election.
It certainly will. We've got a lot going on here, both in the U.S. And in the state, and it's going to be a while before we know how this thing's going to land.
I agree.